And a very good evening to your good selves. Now, I know I've said that I'll be doing less and less vids on the cashless society and the microchip and all the rest of it, but I think the primary reason I'm doing this vid is because you're now seeing this in the UK. Fair enough? Now this, I don't know how I missed this, but this is dated from the 3rd of August 2017, so a few days ago. A British inventor has become the first in the country to be fitted with a microchip so he can open his front door, access his office, and even start his car with just a wave of his hand. Stephen Northam, 33, there's that number again, had the tiny chip implanted between his thumb and finger and is now offering this enslavement service to businesses and individuals who want to simplify their life with technology through his company, Biotech. That is his company, Biotech Human Reengineering. Because, hey, we weren't born special enough at birth. And that's his Facebook, full of examples of the extremely gullible and naive taking this shit. But, well, what can you say? I do get the feeling that some people, when they wake up, and I'm sure you've come across this yourself, when some people wake up to what the world is really all about, they decide to join it. If you can't beat them, join them. In fact, the occultists depend on it. They know that there is, shall we say, people of less character, who, once they find out about the occult, Freemasonry and all the rest of it, instead of, well, making other life choices, they decide to jump on board. I think that they do this under the naive impression that, somehow they'll become some protected species, but historically the occultists have shown otherwise, right through history. And yes, his company, Biotech, he apparently appears to be the sole officer for that particular company. I may leave you the link to that. I may also leave you the link to that. I may also leave you a link to this. Bespoke enslavement. And so many apparent different things you can do with it. Yes, indeed. I've long suspected, this keyless entry on cars? I'm sure I've said quite a while ago, actually, that it's all connected. Of course it's all connected. And of course, even if you bought a smartphone recently, you will see in the settings a term called NFC, which translates as near field communications. And that, I would argue, is also tied in with where they're going as regards the microchip. But you can't convince people. It's still coming in. Scott, people will never accept that. Well, we'll see. He is teamed up with Dr. Jeff Watson, a consultant anaesthetist at the Royal Hampshire County Hospital in Winchester, Hants, to ensure the implant procedure is carried out to a medical standard. Well, doesn't that make you feel good? The technology is similar to a microchip implanted for cats and dogs and takes just 30 seconds. Mr. Northam's company will also alter locks on houses and cars so they are compatible with the chip for a cost of £300 each lock. The married father of one now has technology fitted to both his home and his BMW Z4, which starts when his hand is on the wheel. Although Mr. Northam's wife, who appears to have far more common sense than he does, has refused to be chipped, and fair play to her, he is hoping his 10-month-old daughter Poppy will embrace the new technology when she's older. I would potentially let Poppy have it done down the line, if she wants it done. I certainly don't have an issue with it. Mr. Northam from Otterburn, Hants, who had his own implant done about 6 months ago, said his company is planning to offer bespoke enslavement around the UK. The chip and implant procedure will set people back between £230 and £260 per person, while complete offices where employees can access doors or use equipment will cost upwards of £5,000. By the way, going back to his wife, who has quite rightly refused to be chipped, can you imagine as he comes to the front door and goes through the palaver, and all she does is just put the bloody key in the front door and walks in? I'm sure that's happened once or twice. Yes, indeed. Wonder if they'll still be getting together in the next 10 years. He said one business in Andover, Hants, is now arranging for its 6 employees to have the technology fitted for work. The implants work using both radio frequency identification, otherwise known as RFID, and near-field communication, NFC technologies, much like those used on smartphones. Mr. Northam said, "There's 2 demographics of people." I would argue there's more, but he says there's 2 demographics of people. There are those who think it's brilliant, and those who think it's government taking control. I would say there's others out there who think it's a lot worse than that. That tends to be older people. Oh, yet again, let's demonize older people. I really should have had a wee sip of coffee before I did this. But anyway. That tends to be older people. Well, does that not translate as what? People who have a bit more life experience, a bit more common sense, and have a doubt or two. Yeah? But I remember parents worrying about chip and pin and CCTV cameras. Give it 10 or 20 years, and this will also be commonplace. Alarm bells, boys and girls. He's only telling you, or externalizing, where they're all going with this. If someone wants to break into my house, they don't need my hand. They should just break a window. And if they want to steal a car, they're not going to chop your arm off. Well, I would beg to differ. The morals of some out there may not blink at chopping your arm off to achieve a goal. Especially your lovely BMW. Currently, the chips don't have the necessary permission to make contactless payments. See, there's another thing he's telling you, boys and girls. I've said it a long time ago myself. It will all tie in and connect with a cashless society. Most of you, I'm sure, are aware of that. So, as always, I'm preaching to the choir. But, you know, I say this on the naive thought, too, that people who may not know about this may visit my channel and look at this vid. Anyway. Want expiry dates fitted in. Something which is tricky as a chip may need to be replaced. They'll adapt. Mr. Northam believes it should be available using technology like Apple Pay. Well, there you go. They're telling you. And it could even be rolled out for travel purposes. Well, we've long suspected that, haven't we? Like Oyster cards and passports. He's only telling you what people like my good self and others have been saying for years. But sometimes people need to hear it from the very people doing it before the penny drops for them. So, well, you know. But it can also be used for seriously ill patients. Oh, that old chestnut. We've heard that crap for years as well. Or for people with dementia. Well, that could be quite a business earner. Quite an earner indeed, considering how many people are suffering from dementia these days. But hey, as we look at the skies and the chemtrails, you know where we're going. By containing medical notes for doctors. He said, certain people think the concept seems like complete madness, while others are joining our waiting list to have the microchips installed. What we are aiming to do is offer the ability to have the chip enslavement installed properly under medical conditions and develop its use in a range of areas not yet considered. Yes, indeed, boys and girls. Let's have a look at the comments. He's clearly hoping his daughter will be a chip off the old block. I'll get my coat. Ha ha ha. George Orwell is laughing in his grave. I'd beg to differ, Ronald. I don't think he's laughing. John bows. So all the burglars need to do is cut off his hand, scan it. I'm sure the free publicity is nice. I am not sure. He thought it all through. Well, to a certain extent I would agree with that, John. Deirdre, I'm quite certain babies will be microchipped at birth in the future. Deirdre, unfortunately I can't disagree with you. I could certainly see that happening. Some celebs fearful of kidnap already have their children microchipped. Soon we will be carrying all our personal data, medical and criminal records, passports, and God alone knows what else under our skin. It won't be stop and search by the police, it will be stop and scan. After a wedding, the happy couple will not sign the register. They will have their microchip updated. This is the stuff of nightmares. You're indeed correct there, Deirdre. And there's nothing quite like willingly offering yourself up to be controlled. I remember reading about this somewhere in a big leather book. It was towards the end of it, 10 to 20 years. Is that all we have? And there is no lessons to be learned from history. I'm young, and I think it's a stupid idea. Well, there's hope for you, sir. Or madam. Putting the feelers out to see how people react. Why doesn't the Telegraph allow comments in all articles? Well, why indeed? What has happened to freedom of speech? Oh, how naive. Yes, indeed. Anyway, as I said, as always, I will leave a link to the story and his company, maybe even his Facebook. Please don't say anything nasty. The only reason I'm linking it is so that you can maybe have a wee look if you're interested at some of his fine articles. And do I really need to leave that? Nah, I don't think so. Anyway, as always, I look forward to your views, comments, and any other interesting links. Please give it a whopping thumbs up, because you know how much I appreciate thumbs up. Truly I do. Share if you care. And if you haven't subscribed, well, why the hell not? And I'll speak to you soon.